Welcome, fellow castigators. I managed to catch Netflix's Blonde a day or two after its release, and I was so disturbed I haven't been able to bring myself to talk about it until now. But before I drag that film through the mud, let's talk about reality for a minute. Blonde inspired me to declare that Hollywood is a pornocracy. I'll explain what that means, but first, note two things. One, I don't blame Hollywood for everything. I understand that the entertainment industry goes far beyond California. Two, I know that the Hollywood is corrupt bit has been done to death, but it seems like these days the West has accepted actors and influencers as the authority on life, and I think it's important that I expose the types of people you're listening to. Anyway, let's look at pornography. I think that's my best segue yet. Porn comes from the Greek word for prostitute. Anography comes from the Greek graphene, which means to write or record. So if porn is the recording of harlots, then a pornocracy is a place where harlots are in control. Sounds like a fun kind of place, right? No. Just like Lizzo claiming she's oppressed by society, you'd be incorrect. A pornocracy doesn't allow for the simple morals that make life comfortable and safe. For instance, there's been a big outcry lately from OnlyFans models who can't hold down a long-term relationship. Some people are legitimately terrible and they shouldn't be that way, but often you need to look at the circles you move in and realize the kind of people you attract. If you act openly amoral, you're going to get spineless, amoral friends you can't rely on. The hard truth is that when you devalue yourself, others will devalue you. It's not good for the viewers either, who are taught to treat people like a commodity. Dating apps work the same way. You're essentially shopping for people and making quick and unfair judgments before swiping. Do that every day and you'll just be training yourself to look at people like items. Modern feminism would have you believe that these things are empowering, but being born looking attractive has no merit at all. Your followers might admire you, but they'll never respect you. I'm sure some models are nice people, but most are what I call double Ds. Boobs out and an IQ in the double digits. They have done absolutely nothing to earn such renown, and should not have the power to influence anyone. The worst part is, the idea of sexual empowerment has been dragging in talented folks who actually do deserve attention. When actors are overly sexualized on screen, it's a form of prostitution. Their lewd bodies are being recorded for money. They get coerced by claims that it's art, or that it improves the impact of the story, or any number of excuses. That is always wrong. Nudity distracts from the story and takes the actor out of the character. There are people who think it can be done in a non-sexual way, but good luck trying to change the urge to procreate that humans have had since the beginning of ever. Don't get me wrong, I'm no prude. It just breaks my heart whenever I see great up-and-coming actresses like Kiernan Shipka, Jenna Ortega, or Haley Steinfeld blatantly over-sexualized for profit. I mean, Steinfeld in particular has given some of the most genuine and believable performances in recent years. But every time she gets photographed, they're like, how many shots of her ass can we reasonably get? She is so much more than a piece of meat on legs, but that's all that Hollywood will relegate her to. Men have it almost as bad, what with all projects reinforcing the unrealistic standard that all men, in order to be considered healthy and desirable, should look just like the actors who do steroids and work out for 8 hours a day. And the only reason that these things are happening is because the public allows it. We allow harlots to be the gold standard by giving them our time, money, and likes. We allow them to control and tarnish people who might have helped humanity by speaking to them about human truths through relatable stories. If you don't agree with me, go outside, drink some water, touch some grass, and find a real flesh and blood girlfriend. Anything less can only satisfy you temporarily and will ultimately leave you a slave with the self-confidence of the very women you goggle at. Now that we're all on the same page, that brings us to Andrew Dominik's film Blonde. It's a strange film to say the least, full of baffling direction choices, like a scene of Marilyn running around naked, completely shot in night vision, like it's a porno version of Ghost Hunters. Blonde is based on a book of the same name that is a fictionalized account of Norma Jean's life, better known as Marilyn Monroe. Undoubtedly, the biggest problem with Blonde is that most of the runtime is just Norma suffering. She definitely had a pretty tough life and died tragically young, but this film makes no attempt to show us the person behind the trauma. We don't get to see any happy moments of the energetic and witty Marilyn we saw in interviews and movies. Instead, she's a pathetic, timid woman with a shaky voice that only gets roles because of her body. I know there were many times she got cast due to her sex appeal, but she was also a talented actress, and there had to have been times when she got by on her own merit. The film prefers to portray her as a human pincushion whose only moment of joy is allegedly a short fling with two gay guys. They creepily coerce her into taking her clothes off, just like every other authority figure in the film, but for some reason this time we're supposed to feel good about it. Speaking of clothing removal, Ana de Armas is topless for a staggering number of scenes. It's truly gratuitous by almost anyone's standards, as most of the time it's needless. There are scenes where she's just talking to people, and she's topless. There are scenes where she's at home doing normal stuff, and she's topless. There are even scenes where she's getting high and conking out, and she's topless, even though it's factual that she was usually found in silk pajamas. When I first saw Knives Out and said, "Wow, she's really good. I'd like to see more of her," this was not what I had in mind. Blonde depicts her not just as someone who was controlled into getting naked, but as someone so promiscuous she was naked all the time. Needless to say, this is a fairly questionable way to treat a person who is dead, especially someone whose grave has been vandalized for money as much as Norma Jean's has. It's also ridiculous to make a tragic movie about an actress's body being abused for money by abusing another actress's body for money. Oh yeah, did I also mention there's child nudity in this film? Did I also mention there's a naked adult with her in the scene? That kind of scene benefits no one, especially not the child involved. I'm beginning to suspect that Andrew Dominik is a slimy predator who makes movies to satisfy his fetishes. I have absolutely no tolerance for groomers or any other evil pedophilic scumbags of that kind. If anyone disagrees with me on that particular point, don't even bother commenting. Kindly take a long walk off a short pier. That would be an act of public service. Anyhow, there's a lot more I could say about Blonde. I could talk about the talking CGI fetuses, the JFK blowjob scene, Norma losing her baby by falling 2 feet onto a pile of sand, the constant aspect ratio changes, how Adrian Brody steals the show, or even how they casted a Cuban with a thick accent and what is essentially whiteface. But I'll get straight to the point. My point isn't that naked woman bad. That would be the last thing I want. My point isn't that Hollywood is full of scumbags who exploit women. You know that. My point isn't even that often women can be just as scummy as men. You know that too. My point is that thanks to the advent of the internet, scummy women have been given a new license to be scummy. These whores are venerated as influencers and trendsetters, but wealthy, amoral harlots can't tell you how to be happy because they don't know how to have respect for anyone, let alone themselves. In the pursuit of love, they will fail every time. They simply don't know what it's like to love a person despite their flaws, because their lack of morals keep them from knowing what flaws are. They don't know how to take the good with the bad because they try to accept and tolerate everything. This is why they say don't meet your heroes, because people's heroes are usually celebrities, and celebrities are terrible people. I think there used to be a time where some actors were normal folks with a backbone, but those guys are all old now. Social media has created a new breed of influencers that are even more narcissistic, narrow-minded, and out of touch than ever before. I know that telling you not to listen to them on important matters is a tale as old as time, but in the West, it's getting serious. We're busy trying to categorize, cancel, and ostracize one another, while the rest of the world looks at us for the freaks we are. Andrew Dominik's Blonde is just another product in the Hollywood machine of tone deafness. It's yet another piece of sloggy content that shows just how disconnected we are from the Hollywood elite. I would encourage my lovely viewers to save your mental health by deleting whatever social accounts you don't need. On the social accounts you do keep, take the high road and be compassionate to your fellow man. You don't always have to be nice, but never fail to be kind. I'd also encourage you to be careful what services you pay for and which shows you give your views. This is really not the moment in pop culture to be hate-watching anything. Anyway, thanks for listening this long, and I'd appreciate a bit of the old liking, sharing, and subscribing if you don't mind.